Friends, welcome to the channel. Guys, in this video we're gonna talk about the transferable skills, what you should be mentioning in your CV if as a PhD you're applying for an industry job, right? So as a PhD you don't realize, but you already have many of the skills which are required for a successful industry career and which hiring managers are looking for in the CVs of people who are applying for industry jobs. And believe me guys, I'm a hiring manager myself, so I know what I'm talking about, right? So the first important skill what you always look for in an individual is the communication skills. And as PhDs you have excellent communication skills because you have a very high intellect for the thing you are doing a PhD in. And you have if you're doing a PhD from a good institution, you have these opportunities where you go and present your work in seminars and your doctoral committee meetings, and in your synopsis, in your final defense, and in your lab meetings on a regular basis. So you're regularly communicating and selling your work, right? So you develop excellent communication skills. So communication skills is the most look after skill which we want in an industry position, any position at whatever level. You're always working in industry among teams, and you need to have very good communication skills to communicate and articulate your thoughts and ideas, what you're working upon, what are your findings, what are your results, and communicate it to at different levels to your manager, to your management, or to the clients in many cases. The second most important transferable skill which you have as a PhD, which is required in industry, are the presentation skills. So again, here I mean the presentation skills in the visual presentation, meaning PowerPoints. So as an industry person, you are required again to present your work in seminars, in conferences, and you have to give presentations to clients and within the organization almost on a daily basis. So you need to be having very advanced level of PowerPoint skills, and these are the skills which you developed during your PhD. So for example, I developed how to use PowerPoint like a pro, how to use these softwares like Photoshop, etc., to generate some graphics for my posters which I used to present in the conferences and symposiums, etc., right? So you already have these skills, and the basic graphic design skills and presentation skills, and you should mention it in your CV, because if you have these skills, right, the job of your manager is relieved to a great extent, because then he can basically rely upon you to create the slides by automation. He doesn't have to review each and every bit of a thing, and this is very important skill which you should possess. The third most important skill you should mention in your PhD in your CV as a transferable skill is a client facing skill, right? You have a you don't have a direct experience, but you have that skill because on a day-to-day basis you are meeting the vendors, you are presenting your work, or basically selling your work in conferences, right? In the papers, what you're writing, you're basically selling your work. You have to change your perspective to understand this, and this is what you're supposed to do in client presentations. You have to sell your work, you have to convince the client, right? So the same thing you're doing as a PhD, but you don't realize this is the same thing which is required in an industry career also. So this is a transferable skill, and you have to mention it like that in your CV. So you have to, as a beginner PhD, when you're writing a CV, you have to have a section of transferable skills or skills you have, and you have to list out these 4 or 5 skills with very brief explanation why you're saying that, right? You also have project management skill. In industry, project management is a big thing. There are multiple projects and there's a project manager, and as an individual PhD, you are required to have some level of understanding of project management. And as a PhD, when you're doing your PhD project, you are managing that project, you're managing the timeline. You have to complete your project, if you're smart, within your scholarship period, right? So you have that skill, and you have to mention it in a way, and when asked about in the interview, you have to give this explanation. What do you mean by project management skill? You don't have to learn any software, right? And they might ask you, do you know any software? It was asked to me in my PhD, in my industry interview that do I know any software for project management? I don't have to know. I should know like what is required for managing the timeline, managing the deliverables on time. And this you have practical experience during your PhD, so you have to be very articulative about it when asked about it. The fourth the last very important transferable skill which you should definitely mention is the excellent writing skills. Excellent writing skills. You publish papers in your PhD. You are basically trained to shorten the length of a 5-page explanation into a paragraph or two. This is the skill which I learned from my mentor in my PhD, my supervisor, right? How can I say the things which a normal person will say in 5 pages into 1 paragraph? Meaning you have to have an extensive vocabulary for things, and you have to know how to, say the most important things, right? So this is excellent writing skills, excellent scientific writing skills. If you're a STEM PhD, mention it like that in your CV. And when you mention these transferable skills and you get an interview and you talk about it, it is very difficult for a person, for a hiring manager to ignore you, for the job, because these are the skills which are very less available, in other candidates who are not PhDs. And if you're a smart PhD, if you're a good PhD, and if you're crafting your CV in a certain manner, you should be able to convince your hiring manager. So make use of these skills, guys. And that's what I wanted to cover in this video. There are a lot of other transferable skills which I will be making more videos about, but these are the most important transferable skills which I wanted to touch upon in this video. Thanks again for watching the video. I'll see you again. Thanks for watching.